into the groove, people. For your favorite drink, alcohol, non-alcohol, whatever you want to do. What's your favorite snack? Let's groove some beat. Hey, oh. All right. Hope you feel all loose and all that good stuff there. Hope you're feeling good. I can't believe it. It is it's October 22nd. Wow, this year is going by fast. I haven't said that in a while. I'll say it again. This year is going by fast. Before we continue the show, though, you got to do me this big favor. You got to hit that subscribe button. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that. All right, perfect. Now, I also need you to do me another favor. I need you to hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we drop a new video. So make sure you click that notification bell. All right, great. Now we can move on with the show. So welcome to episode 22 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
Broker Wes.
Yes, y'all. Now, before we can get started with the show, I'd like to do a quick introduction. Just in case you never watched the show before and you're looking at these two handsome guys, and you're like, what are these two handsome guys got to say? Who are they? I want to know. So my name is Qierre McGlory. I'm a realtor. I get the opportunity to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And I'm also a coach. I get to coach agents that helps them build successful real estate careers. And I love what I do. Now I'm going to let Wes share and explain what he does. So Broker Wes, what do you do?
Hey, everybody. It's Wes, y'all. You can call me the money man, the mortgage wizard, the breaker of financial chains, the bringer of rain. And I'm a mortgage broker, and I educate people on what their options are financially, help them figure out what's the best way to move forward with financing properties. And I also mentor other people in our industry that are not mortgage related, helping them understand how to best service their clients with financial services.
I love that. Now, Wes and I are true believers when it comes to personal growth. Reading books, listening to audiobooks, going to webinars, seminars, all those good things. So today I want to share with you a message from one of my mentors, John Maxwell. He talks about being a hero. A hero. No, I'm not talking about Batman, Superman, Captain America, those type of heroes. I'm talking about being a hero in your everyday life, right? Now, obviously, you know what's going on with the world. You know, there are some sad things that are going on with the world now with the pandemic and so forth. But there's a way for you to bring positivity in the world. How do you do that? By becoming a hero, right? I'm not telling you have to have superhero strength, or you have to fly, or you have to be able to teleport or move fast. Nothing like that. It's just about becoming the best version of yourself. Because what we know that is if you strive to become the best version of yourself, chances are people are going to observe what you're doing. And all of a sudden, it's going to inspire others to become the best versions of themselves. So all of a sudden, you're becoming better. And as a result, you're helping other people become better. And as you're helping other people become better, people start to look at you as a hero, right? It's like, oh my gosh, you know, I see every morning you get up and you work out. You know, that motivated me to get up and work out. Now I have a lot more energy during the day. Now I'm able to, you know, function. I'm able to, you know, hang out with my family, whatever it is, right? Or, hey, I see that you read books, you know, like I started reading books. All of a sudden now I'm more knowledgeable. I'm able to have more elevated conversations, you know, things like that. So the message today is be your hero of your life. Be the hero in your story. And I guarantee you, if you strive to be the hero, you strive to better yourself each and every day, you're not only going to inspire others to empower themselves and be their own heroes in their story, you're also going to live a better life fulfilled. So, Wes, when you hear that message of being a hero, what does that stand for you? What does that mean for you?
Yeah, it reminds me, I can't remember who said it, unfortunately, but I'm sure we've all heard that quote, be the change you want to see in the world, right? So that's what I take from it. You know, whatever you want to see more of, or you think more people need to be, you can be that first. And the cool thing is you can inspire others to do that as well. So if you think people don't treat each other nicely or are not kind enough to one another, just go out there and be kind to people, and people are that's going to become, kinetic energy. It's going to be something that passes on to other people. And who knows? We all like to be inspired. We all like to be around inspiring people. So, like I said, whatever you want to see more of, make it yourself or make it happen for yourself first. And like I said, you'll probably inspire those around you to do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we move on to the main event. The main event. Now, if you haven't been living under a rock, and I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't, you have definitely probably seen a lot of now hiring signs out there, right? And it seems like every time I go into a store, I always see now hiring signs, right? I went to a few stores today and I saw on the windows now hiring, right? If you watched last week's show, I was talking about how over 4.3 million people have workforce. Now, today we're going to talk a little more in depth in terms of why people are leaving and not returning to work. So, Wes, why are people leaving and not returning to work?
Well, I came across a great article that kind of summed up 6 reasons, and we talked about this a little bit last week. And I'd say we got quite a few of the reasons down or came to those conclusions on our own. But number one, COVID. So when you look at the numbers of unemployment, the levels, things were starting to tick back up, going in the right direction. Then the Delta variant showed up. And that, of course, if you've been paying attention, there's been a lot of conversations about how effective the vaccine is with the Delta variant and some of the other things, and the breakthrough cases and whatnot. So you see a resurgence of people kind of leaving work once the Delta variant got on the scene. So that is a major reason that was brought up. Makes a lot of sense to me. Number 2, early retirements. So as you talk about people who are just older and maybe don't want to take the risk, being in a work environment all day, every day, then you're going to have some people that are just going to say, you know what, I can collect a pension, I can collect Social Security, I'm going to get my Medicare, I can live off of those items, so I'll be fine not going back to that particular environment. Also, when we talk about early retirements and whatnot, I think another thing, part of it is going to be the mandates. You have more and more companies that are mandating that you are vaccinated, and some of them are still offering, testing. But if like with government contractors and whatnot, you don't have that option. I myself had a client that I helped refinance. I talked to her the other day. She and her husband both work for the government. They're over 60 years old. They don't want to get the vaccine, so they just might retire early. They're really considering it. So that's another factor. You also have, people who are not able to return to work because of care, either healthcare, caring for people who may be in the family that maybe are sick, or childcare. And one of the things I came across that I didn't really think about in this article, for a lot of children, even though they're back in school in that environment, if your child unfortunately catches COVID, guess what? They're going to have to quarantine for a couple of weeks. So who's going to stay home with the child when they're quarantined for a couple of weeks? So some people might just feel it's better for me not to return to work because I don't want to do this whole herky jerky thing where 1 week I'm there, 1 week I'm not, if something comes up. So you also have that. You have people with increased savings. So as we know, there were some things that were provided during the pandemic, with the additional income for unemployment and whatnot. And also you had people that were in a position to be able to get a forbearance on their homes. We've talked about that a lot. So maybe people were saving some of that money, stashing the money that they weren't paying on their mortgage, and now they don't feel the pressure to return to work before they really want to. Also, wages. So in some industries and whatnot, there's been a message going around that they're basically communicating to the employers, we want better benefits, we want more wages, we don't really like what's going on. And also there have been, I don't know if you've been paying attention, it's not getting a lot of coverage in the news, but there's been a lot of talk about There are labor strikes that are going on in particular industries across the United States. And I think also, and I'll just sum it up here, as far as people maybe not wanting to go back to work because they want better benefits, there was a lot of talk early on about how different employers were mistreating their employees when the pandemic hit. There was a lot of talk about what was going on at Amazon. We talked about the drivers and the people in the packaging places and whatnot, the shipping centers, having to urinate in bottles, not be able to take bathroom breaks and whatnot. That we heard about the same thing with like the meat packing plants and the poultry plants and things like that. So maybe people didn't realize, some people just didn't realize that they really were just a cog in the machine to their employers. And once the pandemic hit, they saw that full force and they're like, wait a minute, I don't want to be in this environment. And then lastly, some people are just choosing to take this time to evolve and be a better version of themselves and maybe go back to school, try a new career, go do something they really want to do. So those are all reasons that I think pretty much cover the entire gambit of why people may not be returning to work in the numbers we thought they would.
Absolutely. I can say it better than myself. So great job on that. All right, now we move on to hot topics. Hot topics. All right. So, first and foremost, today Wes and I actually closed escrow on one of our buyer clients today. So, shout out to that.
Yes, indeed.
In this highly contested market where homes are getting multiple offers, in this hot sellers market, we are still able to help our clients get houses. So what we want to share with you guys today is how to avoid buyer fatigue, right? And when I think about that, I think of a quote: when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So Wes, what are some tips to help buyers avoid that buyer fatigue? And when I say that buyer fatigue, I'm talking about just being tired of being in the market, and a lot of them just waving the white flag, like, I give up, I'm out.
Right. Yeah. And as I was kind of thinking about this and the fleshing out like the conversation we would have about it, I was thinking about a particular song, The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. Now, my dad, he's an old school, country boy. So he's got the cowboy boots and the hat and all that. Love that song. Used to listen to it all the time. And I love that song because, what Kenny Rogers is talking about, especially that part of the chorus, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run, right? So that's what this is all about. When you're out there in a competitive market right now, how do you know what to do, when to do it? Well, my first tip for you, and this is going to be incredibly hard because you may have heard us mention this before in previous conversations. Buying a property is a process where you get very emotionally invested. You get emotionally invested. That's why you hire professionals. And I think it's a good idea to hire professionals to help you make decisions throughout the process because they're removed from the emotion of it all. So the first thing I would tell you is do the best you can to be less emotional about the process. And what I mean by that is don't take it personal, because I know how it feels, when you maybe meet the seller of the house, you guys have a really good conversation and you're thinking they really like me and my family. They rubbed my kiddos on the head, gave us a couple bottles of water, or the listing agent really liked me. So I feel like I'm really going to get this house. When you don't get your offer accepted, it's not personal. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting your offer. And the reasons they're rejecting your offer are not personal either. They're simply going to choose, as you would want to do the same, they're going to choose the best offer for them, and as my buddy Jay Moore said in Jerry Maguire, it's not called show friends, it's called show business, right? So it's a business decision, not personal. So that's number one. Try not to take it personal. Number two, just remind yourself that it is a process. And although the process is not always fun, it's not always rewarding, it's just something that you have to do in order to break through to the other side, right? So you're going to have to go out there and look at homes and put offers on homes and sign offers and have conversation with your realtor. You just have to rinse and repeat until you ultimately get to the point where your offer is ultimately accepted and you get into a home that you really, really want. And that is a process, and it's a process that, like I said, it can be grueling at times, but it is a process. And then the last thing I'm going to say is this: just try to remind yourself, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? I mean, really, the only thing you have to lose is time. Whatever time it takes for you to go view properties, whatever time it takes for you to sign an offer and the conversations you have with your realtors and whatnot, that's all it is. It's time. So just try to focus on why you're trying to buy the home in the first place. And this is the most key part of this conversation, because that's a question I have for every client I speak with. I'm sure you're doing the same, Qierre. What is the driving force of you buying a home now? Why now? Why are we going down this road right now? What's driving you? And usually it's a bigger thing than hearing a no. It's a more important factor than the time it takes to find the home. You want to put your kids in a better school, in a better, location. You're getting too big for your house. You want everybody to have enough space. You've outgrown the house you're in, whatever that is. Or you just finally want to take the steps toward being a homeowner and start building your portfolio and start doing some other things to build wealth for you and your children. Whatever that is, hold on to that. Focus on that the entire time you're in that process. Focus on what it's going to feel like. And I can tell you personally, to me, there's no greater joy than having someone hand you the keys and say, it's all yours. That's it. That is the moment. And once you get to that point, everything else you went through prior to that won't matter anymore. So that's my personal tips for how to stay focused and stay on the path.
I love that. I totally agree. And one thing I would just throw in there is also, hire an agent and a lender that's dealing in the market of the now. That's right. Because you definitely want to have professionals that are in the market at this moment and are helping clients at this moment win. Because the problem is I see people that are hiring, other, realtors, lenders, and so forth that may not have sold anything in this market, right? Or may not have even done a loan and funded in this market. So it's sometimes hard for people to relate to this current situation if they haven't been in it. So that's why it's also important to make sure you are hiring experienced, professionals that could guide you in this type of market. So always make sure you're aware of that as well.
Yep.
All right. Now we move on to the market update. Market update. So job claims have gone down, right? Home sales have gone up, but mortgage apps have declined. What does that all mean, Wes? What does that all mean?
Okay, so why don't we start with the big jump in home sales? So the National Association of Realtors said the pre-owned home sales jumped 7% in the month of September. Now in August, it's really interesting. It dipped 2%. So home sales actually went down in the month of August, but went back up 7% in the month of September. And here's a personal note. We've told you guys time and time again that you're probably not going to find a lot of distressed property. So as they were breaking down the different numbers of what's selling and what's not, less than 1% of all of these home sales were distressed properties. So less than 1% of these sales were foreclosures or short sales. So those of you who are waiting around for this flood of distressed properties to hit the market, probably not going to happen in most areas. That's just what it is. So also the last thing I'll say is that as far as what it means that the home sales are up and whatnot, the market's still really good and there's still a lot of people willing to and looking to buy homes. And what they're saying is that the new construction they're looking to they're expecting will pick up, and this is going to kind of offset, the shortage of homes in the market, which I think that's going to be a really good thing for particular people. Um, as we've discussed many times, unfortunately, one of the things that comes with new construction are Mellorues and a higher tax rate. So some people are going to be able to move over to those new construction homes, which is good because that means there's going to be less people buying pre-owned homes. Right. So for those of you who are trying to buy pre-owned homes, things should kind of open up a little bit. That's what I would say as far as that subject is concerned. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, seeing, obviously the home sales increase. I mean, I've obviously, I think between August and September, typically it's usually slower, right? So we typically see home sales go down, but obviously in this pandemic, I think, those several months, when the market kind of stopped a little bit, has prolonged, this seller's market. So
right.
September is a big month. I see October being a big month than what we normally see. November being a bigger month than we normally see, and also December, right? And then we typically pick up steam in the springtime anyway, right? So I definitely see we're going to see more of that. Now, Wes, what about the mortgage apps decline? Like, what's that about?
Yeah, so I think what's happening is two things. So as we know, rates fluctuate. So like a couple weeks ago, rates were a little bit higher than they were a few weeks before that. Then rates got a little better. So I think that number one, it's the seesaw with the rates, because all of a sudden people hear rates are going up and it stops them in their tracks, which is funny because to me it should have the exact opposite effect. Like, oh, I better get in before it gets really bad. But
it's going to continue to go higher.
Right. But that's probably part of it. The other thing as well are people who are hearing about how hard it is, how competitive it is in the purchase market right now, that you're seeing less people actually trying to purchase a home right now. And then also, as I said before, we're moving into the holiday season. And there's a group of people in particular, and a lot of people for that matter, that don't want to start the process to try to buy a home during the holiday season. There's some people who don't want to deal with it. They don't want to have to try to move. No one wants to have Thanksgiving with a bunch of boxes stacked all around them, right?
Right.
So that's probably part of it as well.
Okay. That definitely, I mean, a lot of people don't want to be moving during the holidays, that's for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And then also jobless claims have gone down, right?
Yeah. So the number of jobless claims totaled about 290,000 through the 16th of October. So they were down 6,000 from the week previous to that. And the week previous before that, they were down 6,000 as well. And then also that 290,000 figure was 10,000 below what the Dow Jones was estimating the number of jobless claims were going to be. Also, the continuous jobless claims are at an all-time low with 122,000 below the previous week. And as we've discussed before, the what I like to call the booster, the epidemic booster shot for the unemployment benefits has gone away mostly. So, again, with jobless claims, the trick is it's all about people who are eligible for unemployment. So it could be more people have just run out of their benefits and they're no longer able to apply for new benefits, or people are just getting back to work, which we do know that is part of it, because as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, the unemployment rate was below 5%. So that's probably part of it as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, now move on to one of my favorite segments of the show, the Wes Files. So today's headline: flexibility is key. So Wes, flexibility is key. What does that mean?
Well, as I always as I always like to tell you guys, this is the part of the show where I take my personal experiences from helping people finance or get prepared to finance a property, and certain things, certain mistakes or lessons that are there that I figure I should share with you guys so you guys can, make your process a lot easier should you choose not to use me. Give you some knowledge so you can make sure that these things don't happen to you or you can better your situation. So here's the thing for me. I have always believed that life is all about increasing your options because ultimately that is the difference that most people see between themselves. If you're just somebody who makes, an average wage or something like that, and someone who is wealthy, right? Or as you climb the different levels of, wealth and income, that's the main difference is the options that you have available to you. So for instance, most people that gonna go to Vegas, they're probably gonna get one of the regular rooms at whatever hotel on the strip they can afford and whatnot. But the difference between you and say somebody like LeBron James, LeBron James can go get the presidential suite at any number of those different, hotels, right? When you're going to fly somewhere, the people that are already sitting in the big, wide, cushy seats, when you get to board the plane, those people have more options than you. That's why they're flying first class and not coach. So flexibility, to me, I believe that in anything you do and all things you do in life, you should be working to increase your options because the more options you have, the more you can do to put yourself in a better situation. So I had a particular client of mine that I was assisting with the refinance. And as many of you guys know, I am a broker. That's actually my first name, broker, last name Wes. And one of the reasons I'm a broker is because I wanted to be able to give my clients more options. I wanted to increase the options available to my clients. That way I can help them better. So this particular client, they had a home that they were renting out for 2020. This is during the pandemic. It was on their tax returns filed as an investment property, but they stopped renting it out toward the tail end of 2020. They decided, we're going to make it a vacation home. We don't want to rent it out anymore. We don't know what's going on with the pandemic, so that's what we're going to do. So initially, I spoke to one of my account executives with a particular lender. I explained the situation to them. I said, hey, can you guys do this as a vacation home? Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you a little insider secret. You're going to get a better rate if you can finance something as a vacation or a second home as opposed to an investment property. That's why I was inquiring about this for my clients. Another thing as well, we talked about last week, appraisal waivers. So funny thing, when we processed the application through Desktop Underwriter as a vacation home, we got a waiver. When we had to do it as an investment, waiver was gone. So long story short, I've registered it with the lender. We're in the process that goes to the underwriting department. The underwriter calls me one day and says, hey, we can't do this as a second home because we have a rule with our company that if it was filed as an investment property for the year prior, then that's what we have to use. I said, okay, great. Now I called my plan B because I always keep a plan B. And that's the beautiful thing about being a broker. Because if you work for a bank, if your bank decides not to do it, that's it, game over. But as a broker, I have many banks. So I called my plan B. I said, hey, you guys can still do this, right? Yeah, we can still do that. Okay, great. Register the file over there. My client signed their loan docs last week. We funded this week. They refinanced their property as a second home. No appraisal required, better interest rate, all of that. That was all due to me having flexibility, me having more options. So whoever you choose to work with, you should try to work with people who can offer you more flexibility, better options. And that's not just on rates, on how you get things done, right? We're in a pandemic, wouldn't it be better for you to use a realtor that has more technology that can make it easier to navigate people seeing homes and seeing your home and all that, right? There's a lot of different ways you can work with people that have different flexibility that are going to make things better for you. So look into that flexibility. Don't underestimate flexibility.
I love that. I love that. Flexibility is key. Flexibility is key. Now we move on to the city spotlight. And today's city is Corona Del Mar, or what the locals call it, CDM. Now, at this part, I give you the numbers because me and Wes switch places. He's the one that always gives you numbers. I'm giving you numbers this part, and he's going to take all the fun stuff to do. So, Corona Del Mar. Currently on the real estate market, there's about 82 active homes available for sale in the city of Corona Del Mar. Average days on market, meaning when a home comes on the market and before it sells, is about 61 days. So that's how long it takes in Corona Del Mar. Average list price of a home in Corona Del Mar is over $4 million. Yes, over $4 million in the city of Corona Del Mar. The average age of a person in the city of Corona Del Mar is about age 52. Marriage rate in the city of Corona Del Mar is about 51%. And the average income and the median income of the city of Corona Del Mar is about $155,000. So if you have any questions about buying, selling, investing in real estate, feel free to reach out to myself or Wes, and we'd love to help you. Now, Wes, what's some fun things that you can do in the city of Corona Del Mar, or what the cool people call it, CDM?
Yeah, so Corona Del Mar, let's see, they have an annual Christmas walk. Why not take a walk for Christmas, right?
It's healthy, right?
Yeah, they have
the hot chocolate and stuff.
right. They have the annual CDM Corona Del Mar Scenic 5K. So it's not just a 5K, it's a scenic 5K. And by the way, I've been to Corona Del Mar many, many times. That is some beautiful scenery if you've never been. I recommend you try to get there at least once. They have a festive Hollywood networking celebration. So that's great for business owners who are looking to build upon their business and whatnot. They have an alternative craft fair. They have annual sandcastle contest. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they have Nights of 1,000 Lights. Nights of 1,000 Lights. So that's a different celebration and, different lights and all that. So that's pretty cool as well.
Nice. Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah. And I'm kind of traumatized by Corona Del Mar because when I was in high school, man, we had to play Corona Del Mar and we lost. But it was a hard game to lose and we barely lost. Oh, man. I'll never forget.
Yeah. So besides the football, everything else you enjoy about Corona Del Mar, right?
Yeah. That game was just the one that got away, though, man. It was the one that got away.
Yeah. Well, definitely sounds like there's a lot of fun things you do in the city of Corona Del Mar. So if you guys have any questions about buying, selling, or investing in Corona Del Mar, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We would love to help you. So let's give it up once again for the city of Corona Del Mar. Now we move on to In the Spotlight. This is a time where we highlight a few things that are going on in the news, right? So, Major League Baseball playoffs. Now, I'm an Angels fan, so I'm really not tuned into this. So I'll just let Wes talk about it. So, Major League playoffs, Wes.
Yeah, so the Dodgers are down. Well, first off, we're to the point now where we're at the Final Four. So whoever wins from the ALS and whoever wins from the National League, the American League, they're going to be going to the World Series. So the Dodgers are currently down to the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, 2-3 in that series. And the Astros are currently up 3-2 in their series against the Red Sox. So I'm not quite sure if I had to guess which matchup people would most like to see. My guess is they probably like to see a replay of the Astros and the Dodgers again. That would be my guess. That would probably be the most intriguing matchup out of all of them, but we'll see. But yeah, so, and I'm an Angels fan too. So
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll definitely see what happens there. So
yeah.
yes. Also, the start of the NBA season. Let's talk about that. Start of the NBA season. What have you been seeing, Wes?
Well, Steph Curry started his NBA season off by knocking the two LA teams upside the head. That guy, man, I don't know if you saw that game last night. It,
Yeah.
it's it's just unconscionable how this guy can shoot, man. It just wow, just amazing. But yeah, Lakers lost the first game. I believe tonight we play. I said we like I'm on the team. I forget who we play tonight, but I don't know. We got to get that first win, and obviously we got to get Russell Westbrook acclimated to not being the ball dominant player that he is. LeBron, needs to dominate the ball, so they got to get their chemistry together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean it's definitely it's it's definitely an interesting start, right? I mean, hopefully, we'll definitely see, I mean, obviously I know as the season gets better, players will start to gel more together, so I definitely see that, and then yeah, I know with the Warriors like stopping both of the LA teams. So it's interesting. It's definitely going to be an interesting season this year. So we'll definitely keep our eye on it and see what happens. So
Yeah.
yes.
Phoenix. That's what we play. Phoenix. Now I remember.
Oh, there you go. That should.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens there. Yes. Also want to mention the passing of a former Secretary of State, Colin Powell. He passed recently this week. Colin Powell is a decorated veteran, definitely, a leader, definitely a person that obviously was very intelligent. And, just definitely when I think of Colin Powell, I definitely think of like a true patriot, a true person that really, you know, valued our country, a true American. That's what I really think of when I think of Colin Powell. I mean, he's definitely influenced a lot of people, just reading from other people, sharing their stories, how he inspired people to chase their dreams, to continue to move forward, and also make a positive impact in the world. So Colin Powell will definitely be missed.
Yeah. Very unfortunate indeed. And I guess nobody knew up until he passed away that he actually had cancer. I guess he had some type of blood cancer, and yeah, and ended up dying from complications with COVID. I also didn't know he was 84. Man, he looked really good for his age. He was pretty spry. I had no clue he was 84. I'm like, oh, he was 84? Oh, okay. I also did not know. Well, I'm sure a lot of people did not know he was the son of Jamaican immigrants. So that was also interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was 84 either. So that just
Yeah, he
tells you.
looked really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Still really sharp, too. Really sharp if you heard him speak.
hmm Absolutely. And also want to throw out one thing too. It's Halloween, and guess what? You can buy a piece of movie history. When I say by movie history, I'm talking about one of my favorite Halloween movies, or horror movies actually, is Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes, you can buy Nightmare on Elm Street's house, and no, Freddy is not included. But I have heard he's definitely done some videos advertising the house. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but definitely look it up and see. So you get a piece of history there. Now, thank you guys for tuning in to episode 22 of Real Talk with Coach Q. And
Broker West.
all right, guys, until next time, see you on the next episode.